preparing for an interview, it's very important to try and understand what type or what style of interview it's going to be. If it's going to be a competency-based interview, which are very popular these days, where the questions you'll be asked will be along the lines of, can you demonstrate how, can you illustrate when, can you give us an example of how you have done this or that. What you can then refer back to is the STAR method. And by all means, Google the STAR method, you'll find a lot more information out about that. But really it allows you to structure your answers. People in interviews either talk too much and they waffle and digress, or they talk too little and come across as quite stoic. So the STAR method is an easy acronym to remember. It's S, situation, T for task, A for action, and R for result.
When you're preparing for an interview, the first thing that you should do is have a look back at your own CV. A lot of people think that they will have perfect recall on their career history, and all too often that's not the case. So make sure that you have proper preparation and that you can outline succinctly and concisely why you've elected to work for certain companies, why you've then decided to move on, and what your key achievements were within the company.
Preparation for the interview is everything. If you think about the fact that your CV has actually got you through the door, so you've been shortlisted and it's your opportunity to meet your potential employer, then preparation is everything. Know your CV. Nothing looks more strange in an interview than an applicant not understanding or remembering what they'd written on the CV to get them there in the first place. Research the company, research the role, and come armed with some intelligent questions as well. And ideally, an interview should be a conversation, not a one-way flow of questions. That would be my advice.
First and foremost, look at the information which the employer has provided. Read the advertisement, the application forms, and the questions that they're asking you, but also the supportive information like the job description and the person specification. Know that thoroughly, because within that information are the indicators of the questions that you're going to be asked.
Also find out who will be interviewing you. That will give a really good gauge on perhaps the types of questions that might come up. For instance, if you're being interviewed by the HR manager and a line manager, the HR representative could ask quite generic questions in relation to your softer skills and behavioural traits, whereas the line manager, who's in the field that you want to apply for, could ask more in-depth and technical questions.
There's a number of things. The candidate should certainly know what the job's about, the detail of that job, the challenges at hand, the sector the organisation's in, and where the role fits in the organisation. From the point of view of the interview panel itself, you should know clearly who's interviewing you, who the different panel members are, what their roles are in the organisation, and that's pretty much a given. Over and above that, look at what recent articles are in play around perhaps things that's the company grown, have they taken acquisition in place, get a good understanding of actually why they're recruiting.
In terms of preparing for interviews, it may sound simple, but check the time, the date and the location. Read through the job description and your application form or CV submitted in terms of what you've stated. Try and find out as much as you can about the company. Look up the company website, speak to people you may know who work in the company and get a real idea of what the company culture is like. In that way you'll be best prepared for an interview.